My lords, today I bring a report regarding two new Paragons that have entered the galactic stage. They both appear to be linked to an empire calling itself the Graparx Primal Stalkers, and while they are not mutually exclusive, I would certainly prefer to have one over the other, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on the matter. But before we discuss the Paragons, we must discuss the empire who was able to recruit them. And it does seem most odd that these two Paragons are exclusively only interested in working for empires who have what they've dubbed a primal calling. I suspect they could learn a lot more from us than those silly space fauna riding aliens. But hey ho. The empire with a special interest in space fauna, dubbed primal calling, is also known as the Graparx, and they are a recent addition to the Galcom. They are odd, fanatically militaristic, and xenophobic, which is not in itself entirely unusual, but they appear to use almost exclusively space fauna as their military fleets, which is odd. They do use mechanical ships for construction and science, but for military purposes they train various species of fauna, from amoeba to cuthalloids to voidworms, and they use fleets, or perhaps flocks of them. It is bizarre indeed. We know that primitive Graparx communities were led by hunters, with displays of strength and bravado being a primary method of advancing social status. Despite later agricultural advancements and cultural enlightenment, the best hunters are still seen as the most influential members of their society. In the neo-tribal environment of Sifran, their homeworld, there is no greater achievement than killing a creature with one's bare claws. This tradition is a sort of rite of passage at their coming of age, when one must slay a fully mature Herethus bull. This is an incredibly large and vicious mammal. Reports suggest that they can grow to heights of over 15 meters. The Graprax, who must survive this hunt, wear the feelers of the slain creature on their sleeve as a symbol of adulthood. It would seem that this brutal tradition has moulded the Graprax into a strong, durable empire, but deeply connected to the environment around them. How successful they will be at taming the wilds of the void remains to be seen. The Graprax themselves are strong, resilient, rapid breeders, but despite their attachment to nature, they are non-adaptive. I must admit I raised an eyebrow at this for a species of hunter I suspected would be adaptive, and frankly, I assume that they would be unruly instead. The Graprax have strong beliefs that one must serve to justify citizenship, and service in their military force is the only way to guarantee citizenship. What sets them apart, however, is, as I touched on earlier, they are self-titled Beastmasters. They use exclusively space fauna as their military fleets, working with nature to nurture it, raise it, and then ultimately clone the various space fauna for what they call mutual benefit. But frankly, I'm not sure what the cloned fleets of voidworms get out of the arrangement. Now what is really interesting is that this new empire appears to be able to recruit two Paragons that we have never seen before. We were able to capture records of the encounters with both of these new Paragons from the Graprax perspective, and I shall detail them for you now. The science ship Vuki Vado identified what they're describing as a bone ship. It is described as a ship adorned with tendrils of mature Tianki, rows of voidworm teeth, and the skull of a creature we have never seen before. It is bristling with an array of precision weapons. The vessel hailed us on all frequencies, and we opened communication. A creature calling itself Ceriz Zhao appeared on the screen. The brooding alien's voice was dry and crackling, as if they had not spoken in several weeks. Their manner is direct, and they maintained a stoic eye contact in a manner that felt unequal, respectful, and intimidating. They had the following to say: "As a trophy hunter, it takes a lot to impress me, but your people have. I'm willing to join your hunting parties with the understanding that our partnership will be one of convenience and mutual instruction. I have hunted within these systems for many years. I seek new quarry, and your people seem to be capable trackers. My motivation is simple: the thrill of the hunt. It is obvious that your people have much to learn. A good hunter can track their quarry for as long as required in perfect stealth. To be truly deadly, one must remain unseen until the shot is fired. The time I have spent in the shadows is of no concern. My choice to reveal myself is what counts. I seek no competition in the field, though I am loath to share territory. I would rather work alongside your hunters than fight over the same prey. Whatever you track, I will kill. Finally, we questioned what species of creature the skull on his ship belonged to, before we were sadly told that whatever it was the last of its kind, and although it put up a fight, there are no others like it anymore. The Graprax would go on to recruit this Paragon and use him as a fleet commander. However, my lords, I must point out that I've seen images of this so-called bone ship, and it does not appear remotely as described. To my eye, it looks just like a regular humanoid type destroyer, and frankly, I found this quite disappointing. The second Paragon the Graprax encountered was a wandering xenologist, and I must say she appeared to be as pleasant as Azaria, one of the more competent and frankly more popular Paragons, in part due to her great attitude, but also a robotic pet. The Graprax were contacted by an independent research vessel docking at one of their starbases in the Eden cluster. Outfitted with an array of snaring devices and analytical tools, this ship was specifically adapted for the capture and examination of spaceborne life. They hailed us on all frequencies, and we opened communications. A creature calling herself Ruuk Qabruuk appeared on our screen. She was a xenologist with a passion for fieldwork, and she had studied all manner of spaceborne beasts. Inquisitive and analytical, her eyes flickered constantly to a small handheld device. Even as she greeted us, she appeared to be taking notes. Despite that, her manner was cordial and professional, if slightly detached. She had the following to say: I see that I'm not alone in my interest in spaceborne creatures. I have studied the research that you have been conducting, and it is positively illuminating. I would love nothing more than to aid these efforts as part of your science department. If you'll have me, of course. But apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Ruuk, and I'm a researcher specializing in the field study of space fauna. My team and I gathered data about migration patterns, body composition, and galactic level biodiversity. Personally, I've loved animals since I was a chick, and I never go anywhere without Fuluff. We queried what or who is a Fuluff, to which he quickly responded, very passionately I might add. Only my favourite guy in the whole galaxy. I'd show him on screen, but he's asleep right now. On my home planet we breed this species as pets, and I adopted him on my last visit. He's just the cutest, hearing his little hooves scatter on the metal floors, and the way he nibbles on my feathers, the tuft of wool that sticks up between his little eyes. I'm sure he'll win you over too, if we start working together. We queried how she found us, to which she responded, one of the specimens we were tracking showed some odd behaviour, so we followed its trail. There we found your scientific team engaging with our subject. The great care you took with these creatures showed a real respect for spaceborne life, and that inspired me to look into your research, which impressed me even more. I'm always looking for like-minded peers in the field. To be honest, freelance scientific research is not a reliable source of income. I believe in my work, but spending my life looking for funding simply takes too much time away from the core science. By joining you, I would be able to commit all of my time to what I do best, studying spaceborne life. I would gain access to greater resource and could collaborate with your existing science teams to further our mutual goals. Besides, every creature has a story to tell, and I'm a keen listener. So my lords, Ruuk is one of only 2 identified Paragons with what appears to be a super rare emotional support pet, which incidentally increases her lifespan by approximately 10 years. I must say, if we could all somehow acquire emotional support pets, I imagine the world would be a calmer and better place. perhaps messier. So, which Paragon of the two would you prefer? Please let me know, and thanks for watching.